Corolla, right? Oh, the Toyota Corolla was my first car, by the way. It's a great car. All right, time to round up an important topic from the week. As President Trump finalizes the details of his revamped travel ban, more questions are being raised as to how exactly officials can track potential terrorists. Those questions come after learning a suicide bomber who attacked a military base in Iraq last week was a former Guantanamo Bay attack. British officials say the 50-year-old Briton was also formerly known as Ronald Fiddler and as Jamal al-Harith. He was released from Guantanamo back in 2004 after Britain lobbied for his release. His family says he could not shake off the taint of being held at Guantanamo. Did we release a terrorist or create one? This comes as a new Department of Homeland Security report says there is no evidence that citizens of travel ban countries pose a terror threat to the U.S. So that's our topic this half hour, and we want to hear from you on our Facebook page. You can also tweet me at Sally Mack, Fox 26. Joining us now is our senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico, Democratic media consultant, Mustafa Tamiz, and Republican strategist and public policy analyst, Jackie Bally. All right, this is really an amazing story and has a lot of people talking about it.
It really is. Al-Burtani's family said that when he was arrested, he was not a terrorist. He hadn't done anything. He wasn't involved in terror. And when he was released, he received $1.2 million, equivalent of $1.2 million in American money for wrongfully being held in Guantanamo Bay. Now, that would have shaken the taint for me, Jackie Bally, but he then went to the Middle East years later because he couldn't find a job, his family says, couldn't find a job, couldn't get the stigma of being held in Guantanamo, but the stigma of being a terror suspect off, couldn't find a job, went over there, became a terrorist, blew up a bomb.
Yeah, he became a terrorist because he became a terrorist. People blame their bad choices on a lot of life circumstances, but you still make those bad choices, and he should be held accountable. You also see a lot of families who say, oh, I had no idea that my relative was a terrorist, but there they are. The one thing that this story continues to prove is something the Obama administration has said, and it's something that our Trump administration is saying. We really have no tracking system internally or externally, hence why the travel ban was created. There's no vetting system. Our ICE and our Border and Custom agents have been saying that, and we need to come up with some kind of comprehensive system so we can track these people.
Does this show that? If we took somebody that had no ties to terror, held him, turned him into that, does this show that?
Well, I don't know if we turned him into anything. I agree with Jackie that that's his decision, his choice, and it's sad. But he was a British national. His name was John Fiddler. Was born and raised in Manchester, United Kingdom. So he was not from any Middle Eastern country. He had somehow radicalized. He had ended up in fighting in Afghanistan, or was in Afghanistan at the time. And when we rounded up thousands of people and brought him to Guantanamo Bay, he was one of them. The British government, because he's a British national, lobbied to get him released out of Guantanamo, because the case was, if you have a case against him, prosecute it if you don't release him.
Let him go.
And then when they released him, he went back to UK. There was a lawsuit. $10 million was given to a number of people that were released from that, and that was not American taxpayer money. That was British taxpayer money. So this is just a very complicated case, and some people will try to politicize it. I think the Trump administration and others might try to politicize this. But the learning from this is that what we really have to watch out for is homegrown terrorism, and how do we counter violent extremism, because the real threat, even if it's coming from our nation, is come from European nationals, not as many Middle Easterns.
Let me go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
Alrighty, we'll take a look at Twitter right now. First tweet we're going to pull up for you is from our loyal viewer, Ben. Ben, good morning to you. He says al-Harith's wife said he became radicalized because of the war in Syria, and he linked to an article talking all about that. This is a tweet sort of politicizing the issue, like Mustafa was mentioning. He says, okay, you're great. President Obama released a terrorist from Guantanamo Bay. Guess what? He just blew people up and killed himself. And then Thomas says, just let me get this right. A terrorist was detained in Guantanamo. Some do-gooder agreed to pay $1 million in compensation, and now he's detonated a suicide bomb. So it has a lot of layers to this story that people are pulling back.
The thing about this is the amount of time that it took before he went over there and did that. That's the amazing part of this story. It's not that he got released in 2004, went back over there and did it. It's been a long, long time.
Well, many analysts look at some of the people that create these horrific acts. They have mental health issues, and we don't really understand that, right? So, in essence, he was picked up in Afghanistan. At that time, we don't know exactly what he was doing there, but
in 2000,
in 2001. right after the 9/11 when we went to Afghanistan. So there is a lot of layers to this.
And released in 2004, blew up a bomb in 2015.
Yeah, exactly. And so again, we don't know a lot of the details.
All right, let's go to the DHS report that came out last week or this week. I can't remember exactly when it came out. That said that there's no ties to citizenship that we can use to link to terrorism. And doesn't that really undercut the president's order?
Actually, the DHS spokesperson, Jillian Christensen, has said that this is an initial report,
right,
and that a more comprehensive report will be more in line with the White House report, and that the president's executive order will be in line with their report as well. And she said that the controversy, that people are saying that there's a controversy, there really isn't, because just because their initial statements are stating that, after doing a more comprehensive report, it will be in line with what the president has said.
The controversy is that and has asked for intelligence to back up his assertions, and this is reminiscent of the Iraq.
We're almost out of time. If that report holds true, does that undercut his executive order?
Well, I think most intelligence said that's undercuts it. And just this last case we just talked about, it was a British national that was created. It wasn't Iraqi, it wasn't Syrian. So we really have to start sticking to facts and taking complicated issues and dealing them as they are rather than what they want.
We haven't seen his new executive order. And again, if someone from the DHS is saying that it will be in line with the president's order, I'm going to believe that intelligence.
We'll see where it goes. All right, that shows the complication of this entire issue. We'll see where it goes. We'll be back in about 20 minutes with a really good topic. But join us right now because we're going to continue talking about this on Facebook Live.
All right, you can ask our panel questions there. Just log on to our Facebook page, Fox 26 Houston. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you in just a few minutes.